Alan, please describe yourself as a man and as a musician.
As a man and as a musician, I don't know. I don't seem to be very good at either. I try. It's just like I try to be I try to be a good guy and I try to be a good musician, but music is so huge that the man who says he knows everything about music is not telling the truth. And I know I've made, I came to the conclusion a long time ago that I will never ever know anything about music. You just have to use what knowledge you have at any given moment and use it. And use myself to express it as best I can at any given time. Sometimes it's okay, sometimes it's not. So it's just like life,
Here at Big Mama, you played the last concerts of your tour. Where have you been playing during the past weeks?
Well, we started in Japan. We did a week in Japan at the Pit Inn, which is a very special place for me because the same promoter and the same people have been bringing us there for 10, 15 years to the same club. And we always go in Golden Week, which is a holiday in Japan. And last year was the only year that we skipped a year. But usually we go every year. And we're very proud to go back to that place because the people have taken such great care of us, and they bring us back no matter what. So there's no reason to change, So I always look forward to it. It's a pleasure to go back there. We flew directly from Japan to Cologne, and we did 2 days in Cologne. And I don't actually have the itinerary in front of me, so I can't remember exactly where we went. But we did a few gigs in Germany. And then we went to, the only day off we had in the whole tour was a 15-hour drive to Nice. And we played in this nice little club in just a little outside Nice. And it was great. The audience were great, and they were very receptive to the music. And we had a good chat. We had a good time.
Your career starts a long time ago. You recorded a lot of albums. Which one is the first one you get in mind, and why?
Well, I think the first one that I think of, there were a couple before that, but I think the first one that I really think of that had any significance for me was playing with Tempest, when I got the opportunity to work with John Heisman. And it was a great opportunity for me because it was the first time that I ever got to travel. One of the first times I'd been on an aeroplane, because I moved from, I was born in Bradford, Yorkshire, and I got a gig. I just did day jobs, regular day jobs. I worked in a bicycle shop, and then I did an apprenticeship for basket weaving, which was a kind of a strange occupation, but you use your hands, so it was good. And then after that, I had the opportunity to move to London through a saxophonist called Ray Worley, who was on tour with the Musicians Union doing clinics. The Musicians Union used to send out bands to do tours in England, and they came to the town I was working in, which was Sunderland. Well, actually, Sunderland is very close to Newcastle, so the thing was in Newcastle, and they had 2 days. And I went to the first one, and then they invited people the next day to, if anybody wanted to bring their instruments and jam or sit in with the musicians. So I thought, this might be a good opportunity for me, so I did. And when I played with the musicians, a few of those people remembered me, including, this particular saxophonist, Ray Worley, and he asked me if I ever wanted the opportunity to move to London, that he had a spare room that I could use. So.
But is it true the title of the CD comes from a bottle of whiskey?
Well, usually every album that I've done, like Wardenclyffe Tower or Hard Hat Area, I just take one piece of music, and the title for that music, I just pick one of the tunes and use that title for the title of the album, and I usually try to pick the one that maybe has the most interesting qualities, I guess, as a title for an album. And the 16 Men of Tain, I'd written this piece of music that was I felt it was very festive, and it had this kind of jolly thing, which is unusual for me, because usually most of my things are pretty dark, a little more sad or something. But this had a very happy, jolly thing to it, and every time I think of jolly, I think of like huge consumptions of alcohol. And Glenmorangie is a favourite. It's a very special single malt whiskey, and on every bottle of Glenmorangie it says handcrafted by the 16 Men of Tain. So I just liked the way that sounded, and it fit that piece of music. So I called that one piece of music the 16 Men of Tain. So when it came to the title of the album, I could have used any one of the titles of any one of the other tunes, but that one seemed like the best one to use. So I used it. Unfortunately, all the titles of my albums are almost unpronounceable, especially if you go to other countries, but I liked it, so I used it.
Okay, now a little game. Allan, your house is burning. You have time to take out of the fire just 3 records of your collection. What is your choice?
My house is on fire. I think my house is on fire anyway. I would take Bartók String Quartet number 3, Debussy String Quartet, and maybe Clair de Lune, the Debussy piece, the piano piece, and John Coltrane's Coltrane Sound.
Jazz and classical music.
Very special kind of jazz, though, John Coltrane.
In 1994, you won a Grammy Award as Best Instrumental Rock Record. After that, you moved from Warner Company to a smaller label, the Cream Records, and you are still working with them. It is so difficult to feel free in your musical choices working with a big company.
Usually, because the big companies always want to make you, they always dictate to you what they want you to play. So when I first got signed to Warner Brothers, when we did the Road Games record, it was really kind of sad, because I thought, oh, this is a golden opportunity. It's a big label. I can maybe reach a few more people, because they had obviously excellent distribution, because it's Warner Brothers. But they really didn't want me to do what I wanted to do. So then there was no point. So I had to go back to a smaller label to allow me to do what I wanted to do, because that's the reason that I do what I do, is because I believe in it. It's what I love. I could have made a lot of musicians make choices to play different kinds of music so that they can survive or make money. And luckily for me, I came from a family that didn't really have any money, so I never really had any big desire to earn a lot of money. I mean, I'd like probably now, as I'm old, I'd like to be rich, but it's never going to happen. But I made that decision a long time ago, that I just wanted to follow my heart, and everything I do is based on that. I follow my heart. If something feels like that's the right thing to do, that's what I do.
Do you think the internet could be a good way to increase the popularity of your music, or do you have any project involving your music on the web?
Well, I think it's in the beginning, but I think it could, yeah. I think it's going to help a lot of people, a lot of musicians, because I know, like, for example, Gary Husband, who's a drummer that I've worked with for many, many years, who's one of the greatest musicians I've ever had the pleasure of working with, is he's involving himself in that now, and he's kind of inspiring me to look in the same direction, you know, to maybe to do a little bit more. I'm not very good at self-promotion. I've never been very good at blowing my own trumpet, as they say. So I think the internet could be very good. It's in the beginning, but maybe, you know, maybe over the next 3 to 5 years, it could be good. Keep my fingers crossed.
Did you ever play in a blues band?
Not really, but I was interested in the blues in the beginning, you know, because it was one of the simplest forms. You know, it had some leanings into the jazz thing, but yeah, I did for a while. But they weren't really blues bands, but they were bands that I played in that included blues in the program, you know. But I got fed up of it very quick because it just was very confining, you know. It's too simple. I mean, it's not really a put down, you know, because there's some really great artists that do that. But for me, it wasn't enough. I couldn't let it stop there. I needed to, felt like I needed to grow.
Is there any other art except music you are interested in?
Yeah, there's quite a few actually. Brewing is an art, but brewing, you know, brewing beer is very is an interesting art form. Just because I like it, you know. But
it is correct to say that if you weren't a musician, you probably would be a pub owner.
I don't think I'd be a pub owner because I'd never be able to earn enough money to own the pub. I could probably be a brewer, you know, but you can't really make any money making, you know, as a brewer, as such. But yeah, I'd like to own a bar. It'd be great, you know. The only thing is that I'd rather be on this side of the bar than the other side.
Allan, thank you very much for the interview.
Thank you. My pleasure.